let's talk about social media censorship. So all of your Republican ranting that you do, as a member of the squad, as you like to call yourself, right? That's you're like the fifth member of the squad, right? And so for all of it.
For the record, I'm part of the tribe. It's not the squad. We're the tribe. Come on, get the phraseology right, please.
Okay, for all your ranting as a member of the tribe, wanting to be part of the squad, on Trump, and I was critical of Trump when he threatened to pull the FTC licenses of the networks that opposed to him. I didn't think he was ever going to do it, but I thought the fact that he did it was like, oh, great. Now when Biden or Kamala, Biden wasn't on the radar, but Kamala or Warren or Bernie get in, and now you've laid the foundation for them. But the social media censorship seems to be something that is far more pervasive on the left. We talked earlier about socialism versus and communism, and kind of jokingly said that. I say jokingly, we're serious, but said that they can come on the show. That is a function of those type of societies. Is that speech, censorship, stuff like that. It has to happen. Otherwise, you have free thinkers, and that's just a bad idea. So, are you concerned as we go into the Biden administration, as they both said, a Kamala Harris with Joe Biden administration? Are you concerned that we will see increased censorship? Also, over under how many days out of the office until Trump's kicked off Twitter? Oh, finally, let me just say this. Twitter's like, hey, we're going to give the POTUS handle to Biden. Bro, he tweets from his own handle. No one follows the POTUS handle. No one cares.
Yeah. A lot to unpack there. So, I think social media censorship is really interesting and very topical for today. So in answer to your question, I don't think that Twitter is going to do anything to silence Trump at this point, because net any publicity he gets and Twitter gets is positive for them. I think they want it to be outside of the arena of potentially giving the president a platform to lie to the people. But now that he's not president, I think they're going to let him run roughshod and do whatever he wants.
You want to put a little friendly wager on this?
Yeah.
They will ban him. They will ban him.
All right, we can.
Here's what they're going to say. They're going to say he's already violated. He's already violated the 3-strike rule, and just like they did with Alex Jones and everyone else, they go back retroactively, say he violated, and then they will institute that once he's not in office anymore.
Alex Jones doesn't do anything for Twitter the way that Trump does. I'll bet you. So if I win, I get Red Sox tickets. If you win, you get $200. Too soon?
Okay, I gotta go.
That's too soon.
Wow.
Too soon.
Wow.
So social media censorship. I think it's. So let me say it this way. I think the backdrop of this is really important. The way that I look at this, or the first thing that I think about when thinking through that issue, is you have the First Amendment, which gives you the freedom of speech. That freedom of speech doesn't give you the freedom from consequences of whatever speech that you said or whatever you chose to say. And so I think there's this mentality of freedom of speech means that I get to say whatever I want without repercussions. That's just patently false. And if your expectation of the First Amendment is that, you're in for a rude awakening. Unfortunately, the reason I preface it with that is because unfortunately, I think that by and large, the left sort of has the mentality of that they're able to say whatever they want with impunity and get away with it, and that they can, the ends justify the means. And I think that.
Sorry.
What's that?
It was an impressive jump by the cat. Sorry.
For as fat as he is, it is. There's a fat joke in there somewhere. I won't make it. There's a trampoline fat joke in there. It's not important.
I'm going to mute
No, but so am I nervous that we could certainly see some amplification of efforts to rein in censorship of the internet? Absolutely. I think that's something that, but I see that as a government move, not a platform right or left. I think that the government is in the business of silencing and censoring people, not necessarily one side of the aisle or other. They just do it in very different ways. Look at I don't know if you downloaded Parler and got into any of that at all.
I've downloaded it. If I posted there 20 times, that would be that's maybe that. It's terrible.
Yeah. So I think the other side of the coin is if you don't have some level of censorship, you know, you kind of invite that sort of speech, and that's not beneficial to anybody. And so,
I don't know.
so
the app literally never works. So,
I mean, it's just aggressively, like, aggressively misogynist and demeaning to. It's, I mean, it's interesting because it's not even necessarily what I would call like the Trump platform, but it's aggressively misogynist. It's aggressively against minorities. There have been a number of FBI raids or whatever based off of Parler messages that ended up in arrests. I mean, it seems to just kind of be a cesspool of negativity, kind of geared around this, I'm American, and it's interesting, and I don't want to take the conversation this route, especially with only a couple of minutes left. But I mean, you and I share a lot of the same worldview. We see a lot of things the same way. But in terms of background, I mean, I don't know if we could have come from much different places. I mean, I was really fortunate that I was born into a well-to-do family in America. But I mean, a lot of my history, a lot of my lineage is Middle Eastern and minority driven. What?
Nothing.
Oh, I was gonna say, and so I mean, I think that colors my experience to a degree enough to sort of see, some of the other side here. And I mean, this movement towards like xenophobia and we hate what's different. I mean, it's amazing to me. I mean, you're probably one of the few people in my life that's more of a history buff than I am. I mean, how many times throughout history has the xenophobia card been played, and how many times in hindsight has it been like, yeah, that was really dumb, we shouldn't have done that, and that card just seems to continue to get played time and time again when one part or the other wants to assert control or wants to kind of pretend to be this nationalist movement. It's just got to, we've got to find a different way to be proud of where we came from. If the only way we can figure out how to do it now is to hate the people that aren't like us. That just, I mean,